The importance of being tall as a centre-back, which sounds like the worst play that Oscar Wilde ever wrote, has, I believe, been greatly overstated through the years. As far as I'm concerned, Johan Cruyff proved that point definitively as Barcelona boss with his so-called dream team in the early to mid-1990s. For most of Cruyff's time at the helm, Nacho was his tallest centre-back at 6'1", but he oftentimes played a centre-back duo or trio made up primarily of Ronald Koeman, who stood at 5'11", Juan Carlos, who measured in at 5'7.5", and Albert Ferrer, who was the same height as Lionel Messi. It's enough to send Tony Pulis into an early grave, given that the Welshman often likes for all of his defenders to be 6'4" giants, including his fullbacks, despite the somewhat ironic fact that he himself played as a defender despite being under 6 foot. Anyhow, many of you have asked me to make a video taking a look at the best centre-backs under 6 foot tall, both past and present. Most notably, subscriber Joshua Chan, who has requested it lots of times and has received quite a lot of likes for the suggestion. Today's video is primarily a look at the best centre-backs under 6 foot in world football right now, since, on an all-time basis, the best centre-backs under 6 foot is pretty close to just being the best centre-backs. Nonetheless, I have made sevens for both, so once I'm done talking about current centre-backs, I'll quickly rattle off my all-time top 7, since I'm extremely generous like that. And in return, if you want to double check that you're subscribed to HITC Sevens and have notifications turned on, and do so if not, well, you are more than welcome to do so, of course. 6 foot is 182.88 centimetres for all of our more metric orientated viewers and subscribers. And to be deemed as under 6 foot, my cutoff point is 181 centimetres, since although 182 centimetres is technically just under 6 foot, it's also closer to 6 foot than it is to 5'11". So for anyone using imperial measurements, someone who stands at 182 centimetres would effectively be rounded up to being 6 foot. Okay, without further ado then, and hopefully that's clear, here are my views on the 7 best centre-backs in world football who are under 6 foot tall, followed by the greatest of all time. Danilo D'Ambrosio. 7th place brings us to the San Siro and to a versatile and industrious Italian international who has won 3 caps for the Italian national team. Born in Naples, Danilo D'Ambrosio began his career with Potenza just 3 years before the club was dissolved. Following 4 years with Torino, D'Ambrosio signed for Inter Milan in 2014, where he has since made over 200 appearances as a regular fixture for the Nerazzurri. Now, I should point out that to be eligible for this 7, you have to have played a lot of football at centre-back, and I point that out because there are a few players in this 7 who can play as either centre-backs or full-backs, which should perhaps come as little surprise, given that some coaches would consider anyone under 6 foot to be too short to play as a centre-back. Danilo D'Ambrosio is equally comfortable playing at right-back or centre-back, or even on the right side of midfield, and his versatility is a real asset to Antonio Conte's side. The 31-year-old has started more games at centre-back than he has in any other position this season, making 31 appearances, including 22 in the league for the most formidable defence in Serie A. D'Ambrosio stands at 180 centimetres tall, which is 5'11", and I think he's good value for a place in this 7. Gene Dakanam. Getafe conceded fewer goals than Real Madrid and Barcelona in La Liga this season, with their miserly backline shipping only 35 goals across 38 league games. That's an outstanding defensive record, and it saw the club secure a strong 5th place finish, 1 place above Europa League finalist Sevilla. A key cog in Getafe's formidable back four is Gene Dakanam, who stands at just 178 centimetres or 5 feet and 10 inches, which is undeniably short for a modern day centre-back. Like D'Ambrosio, Gene is capable of playing at right back, but he has played exclusively as a centre-back this season. Consistently among the most dependable centre-backs in La Liga over the last 3 seasons, the Togolese international is quick, strong, and excellent in the tackle. Gene has a release clause of just over £30 million written into his current Getafe contract, which Arsenal were reportedly very interested in should they fail in their bid to sign Diet Upamecano from RB Leipzig. However, it's believed that Gene was a target of Unai Emery's and that Arsenal's interest has since gone cold, which will be music to the ears of Getafe fans. Daley Blind. Former Manchester United man Daley Blind has always been an exceptionally versatile footballer, coming through the Ajax youth ranks as a midfielder, playing as a right-back on loan at Groningen, and then as a left-back once he returned to Ajax, and just about everywhere in between at some stage or another. Since returning to Ajax from Manchester United in 2018 though, Blind has played the vast majority of his football at centre-back, and he has done a fine job there. Blind may not be the quickest, tallest, or strongest, but he makes up for any physical disadvantages through his excellent footballing IQ. Blind reads the game beautifully and has often marshalled Ajax's backline since returning to his boyhood club, as well as almost acting as a very deep-lying playmaker given his vision, ability on the ball, and impressive range of passing. Blind stands at 180 centimeters tall, or 5 feet and 11 inches, and I think he has to make this 7. Cesar Azpilicueta. Too high for some, and too low for some others, I've no doubt, but it's a game of opinions, and for my money, 4th place is about right for Cesar Azpilicueta. The Chelsea captain was signed by the Blues from Marseille as a right-back, but he has ended up playing as a right-back, left-back, and indeed as a centre-back, as part of a back 3 or back 4 throughout his time at Stamford Bridge. So dependable to Chelsea for so many years, I think Azpilicueta played arguably his best football for the Blues at left-back under Jose Mourinho, but he looks capable wherever he is deputised. This season, it has once again been a mix of all 3 roles, and whilst he has spent the majority of the campaign at right-back, I think Azpilicueta has played a sufficient amount of football at centre-back to be eligible for this 7. Capped 25 times by Spain, the 30-year-old is just 178 centimeters tall, so 5 feet and 10 inches. Nathan Ake. As mentioned in the introduction, Johan Cruyff had no qualms about playing defenders who were under 6 foot tall, and the Dutch national team, under the guidance of one of his students, Ronald Koeman, who played as a centre-back for Cruyff despite being under 6 foot, have stayed true to the Cruyff mantra with 2 very talented defenders, both under 6 foot. Joining compatriot Daley Blind in this 7 then is recent Man City signing Nathan Ake, and yes, that means that Ake will link up with another of Johan Cruyff's students, Pep Guardiola. It is difficult to escape the influence that Cruyff has had upon this sport. Nathan Ake is a very talented defender who has spent the last season playing in a not very talented defence. Pep Guardiola will no doubt like the fact that Ake can cover at left-back as well as centre-back, but all but 2 of the Dutchman's 30 appearances for Bournemouth last season came at centre-back. Ake is quick, intelligent, and pretty dominant in the air, despite the fact that he is only 180 centimetres, or 5 feet, and 11 inches tall. The 25-year-old is also really comfortable with the ball at his feet, and although he still has plenty of room to improve, he's good value for 3rd place, in my opinion. Julen Kunday. France have an absolutely preposterous conveyor belt of talent right now, and there is arguably no position in which they are stronger than centre-back. He may have Raphael Varane, Samuel Umtiti, Kurt Zouma, Presnel Kimpembe, and the remarkably all-uncapped trio of William Saliba, Dio Upamecano, and Emerick Laporte for competition, but the way in which Julen Kunday has been going about his business, one would be surprised if Didier Deschamps wasn't taking a keen interest in his progress. Signed by Sevilla for €25 million last summer, following 2 seasons with Bordeaux, Kunday is still only 21. He has the potential to become just about the complete ball-playing centre-back, given his physical and technical prowess, and the fact that he is already so strong defensively. Kunday has bags of pace, he doesn't give strikers an inch, and he can carry the ball and pick a pass better than most holding midfielders. Sevilla signed a gem in Kunday, although he's already being linked with a £32 million move to Real Madrid. Personally, I think he's worth far more than that, and a Premier League team would be demanding in excess of double that figure. But either way, the 181cm or 5 foot and 11 inch centre back takes the silver medal in this 7, and I suspect one day he may take gold. David Alaba. Controversial perhaps only in the respect that David Alaba has obviously spent the bulk of his career as a left back, but I suspect he may now be a centre back for good. Hansi Flick shifted Alaba from the fullback to the centre-back position following an injury to Nicolas Zula early this season, whilst handing young Alphonso Davies a chance to shine in the unusual role of fullback. One suspects it was a quick fix on Flick's part, but Davies has been absolutely phenomenal at left-back, whilst Alaba and Boateng have formed a strong partnership at centre-back. Personally, I can't see Alphonso Davies moving back to the wing off the back of this season, although stranger things have obviously happened. If that is the case, then David Alaba's future is likely to be at centre-back and rotating with Davies at left-back when the Canadian needs a breather. Although admittedly, he hasn't looked like needing a breather very often this season. That means that Alaba, once the most complete fullback in the world game, is eligible for this 7 as far as I'm concerned. And once eligible, he was the outstanding candidate for top spot. A sensational athlete with a first-class work rate, Alaba was always stronger defensively than most modern-day fullbacks, and that has put him in good stead to shift over to centre-back. The Austrian stands at 180cm tall, which is equivalent to 5'10", so he tops my 7. So that's it for my current 7, but before I leave you, I did promise you my all-time 7, which was a far more difficult 7 to compile, given that, as I said, probably close to 15 of the 20 best centre-backs to have ever lived stood at under 6 foot tall. Nonetheless, my 7 will be Franz Beckenbauer in top spot, followed by Franco Baresi, Bobby Moore, Neil Franklin, Gaetano Correa, Daniel Passarella, and Ronald Koeman. To give you an idea of just how competitive and difficult that 7 was to select, some of my honourable mentions would include Fabio Cannavaro, Carlos Puyol, Frank de Boer, Jose Santamaria, Hector Trumpetaz, Emlyn Hughes, and Armando Piqué. Let it never be said that you need to be a giant to be a great centre-back. A final word on the current 7, one player I left out was Nacho Monreal, who is under 6 foot and has played as a centre-back at times, but hardly at all this season, and not enough in the past, I felt, to justify including him. But I just wanted to leave that disclaimer in case any of you thought I'd just forgotten him. So that's it for today's video. Thank you all as ever for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to demolish the like button if you did, let me know your thoughts as always in the comments, and obviously don't be so foolish as to not be subscribed and have notifications turned on for HITC Sevens.